All right. Good morning. Welcome back. It's now time for us to get into our political segment. Being a Monday, as I earlier said, it's back to school Monday for the third time. And of course, it's going to be a very busy week for the students. And now we just hope that everything is going to be as good as planned. And we are asking actually the drivers to be very cautious. That is my first request to all of you. Be cautious, because you are carrying, or you'll be carrying, very innocent souls back to school starting today. Okay, so today let's get to the discussion. But before then, allow me to introduce my guests who are already on set. Umwami, good morning.
Morning.
Henry Ndindi is a lecturer. He's also communication strategist and governance expert. I call him Umwami. Good morning.
Morning to you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Karibu sana.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I don't know where you disappeared to.
I went for a holiday in Budalangi.
Are you sure you are on a working holiday?
Okay, a resting holiday.
No.
But also a seriously working holiday in as far as finding out how the community is doing.
I saw your face somewhere. Don't ask me where.
Okay. Thank you for seeing it.
I saw you.
That's an affirmation of something.
Yes.
Good.
Next to him is Peter Ndungu. Peter Ndungu is a political analyst. He's also salivating for a political seat. Peter?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Victor, how are you?
You look healthy today.
We are back here.
You look happy.
What
happened over the cup over the last 2 weeks?
Is after we have achieved our 4th-year goal. 2 million Kenyans employed. Kenya now we are not debt anymore, we are plus $2.75 billion plus in our infrastructure fund. What more can we look for?
Interesting. Tell us more, please.
Yeah, you saw the health summit. Kenyans out there, Lamu, Budalangi, where he comes from. All over the country, Nairobi here from the other side, Kenyans are saying how SHA has worked for them. We have unanimously agreed in this world that for you to survive in this world, for you to survive as the government, you must be like a bicycle, keep the balance and keep on moving. That's why the SHA is working.
Unanimously agreed.
Yes, unanimously agreed.
Who are part of that meeting?
The world, that's the rule of the world.
Okay.
Yes, that we have to keep on. You must be like a bicycle, whereby you must keep balance at the same time, so you are moving. This country is going towards the right direction. We are proud of 2 million Kenyans new have been employed. We are proud that at the 4th anniversary, we are talking about SHA, which is working very well. Affordable housing, among others.
No. Under what statistics?
Affordable housing today, we have absorbed 1 million Kenyans today. Kazi Maju has absorbed 500,000, growing to 600,000. Teachers, we have already employed 120,000. Environmental, these cleaning levers, so on and so forth, we have employed close to 400,000. When you add all that, comes to 2 million Kenyans employed by the William Samoei Ruto administration.
Very good. Shadi Kombo is an advocate of the High Court. Shadi?
Yes.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Victor. Good morning.
Yeah. You've heard what he said?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I have heard what Mr. Peter Ndungu has said. You know, there is something beautiful about people singing in the bathroom. When the water is very cold, for some reason you will think that you are a very good singer. Up until a time when you will get a recording of what you are singing. Then you will realize that you need to return back to your old ways. Yes. So really, there is so much to look forward to as a people.
Yes.
I have been on the ground. I have been visiting people, trying to get their views, at least from the common man.
Yes.
The common man, what he feels, what he thinks about the things as they are currently in the country. And of course, many people do not have any beautiful thing to write home about.
Yes.
There are teething challenges, especially when it comes to the implementation of SHA. And of course, I know too well that it is not for the government that is tasked with the mandate of implementing SHA to tell us whether it is working or not. Of course, what the government is going to tell us is that SHA is working because they have been given the responsibility, or rather, they are the engineers of this SHA, which of course they revamped it and they set aside altogether what was there before. That is the NHIF. So when you want them to tell you that it is working, of course they are going to tell you that it is working. So the person that should be helping us in checking the government is parliamentarians. But of course, our parliamentarians are in deep slumber. A majority of them do not even understand what they are doing there. So the current government that is in place continues to run away with a lot of things. A lot of incompetence, a lot of, ineptitude. Largely because they do not have anybody to check them. They keep singing to themselves. That is why I compared the sentiments of my friend, Mr. Peter Ndongo, with that of an individual who is singing alone in the bathroom. So you will imagine that he knows how to sing.
I believe
Look
that
at the bigger picture, not the bad picture, young man.
I believe that
you will be successful. Otherwise, if you concentrate on the bad picture, you lose terribly.
To be honest, my brother Victor, I've been in Budalangi. I've spent the entire month in Budalangi. And what my brother Shadrach Wamboi is speaking to reflects what is actually on the ground. So, as you said, you had seen my head somewhere lindering Mwananchi, because that is what we do better. We have to linder Mwananchi.
I saw you in church.
Oh, sorry.
I saw you in church.
I was lindering Mwananchi even in that church.
Okay.
So as my brother says,
yes,
there are things we are bringing to the fore today. Probably the government is making pronouncements of them. But if you check the reflection of that on the ground, that is not how the state is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gilbert Awin, I believe you're a good singer, in and out the bathroom.
Thank you very much. Fellow panelists, I'm happy to be here this morning.
Karibu sana.
What really surprises me is, to what extent have we become marketers to this government, as if government is in profiteering business? It is in business where you market as much so that you make as much returns as you can. We are living in a government where it really does not matter the pain that you say you have. What matters is the pain that you claim you don't have. Even if SHA was working, the 10% or the 40% or the 90% who are actually not experiencing the effects, the positive effect of this SHA, should be the preoccupation of this government. But what we are seeing is a president making phone calls of select places. Of course, who do you expect to contradict the president when he calls you on phone whether SHA is working or not? And for me, I find it really pathetic that in a country where the right to health care is for everyone, you have to make calls to check, does it work here, does it? And if you find one or two who perhaps enjoy it because they have the enhanced cover of SHA, then now it becomes a song that SHA is working. What should be the preoccupation of the government is that everyone, 100%, even if it's 99% working, but there is 1% that is saying this thing is not working for us. That should be the preoccupation of government, so that at least the population experiences what their taxes actually are meant for.
Yes.
So for me, I just sympathize with the gentleman of statistics.
Allow me. You know, Victor, let me just say this. You know, these people, just the other day, said that SHA is going to collapse. Now that they have confirmed that this thing is now transforming lives of Kenyans, they have now started coming up with other narrative. My advice to them is one, that the people who truly knows that SHA is working, there are those people who are deep down there. Even in Budalangi, those people who have registered knows that SHA works, but this guy can't know.
Yes.
But let me tell you the truth. Kenyans across the country last week during the health summit confirmed that SHA is working. It's not about 1% or 2%, but the thing which is there is that the SHA is working for Kenyans. The prophet of doom which these guys used to have, that SHA is going to collapse after 6 months, is no longer there. These people have been lied to Kenyans.
Okay.
Oh my.
Okay. Yeah. Allow me to do this.
Yeah.
Take you through the front page of the local day, then we straight dive into it. The Standard says Uhuru takes on Ruto. This is not new to us, once again, right? Uhuru takes on Ruto. Of course, he's been, his name has been called quite for some time, but yesterday in Kitale, he had a chance to reply. And now, on the front page of the Daily Nation, Uhuru takes on Ruto. Former President Uhuru Kenyatta has said that he has no interest in the presidency after serving his 2 terms, insisting that Kenyans should be free to choose their leader in the next year's general election without coercion. He spoke as President Ruto sustained his attacks on his predecessor, whom he accuses of sponsoring the opposition to oust him. That is the story on the front page. And of course, the president also said that he is not planning to have any talks with former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. President rules out talks with Gachagua. That is on the front page of the Daily Nation. What we have on the front page of the Standard, still on the two gentlemen, be tolerant. Just like that. Be tolerant. Okay? Two familiar faces. The Standard reports that former President Uhuru Kenyatta has warned that attempts to disrupt opposition rallies are dragging Kenya backwards, urging politicians to seek votes peacefully and allow voters to choose their leaders freely in 2027. Speaking in Kitale at the memorial of former Vice President Kijana Wamalwa, Uhuru denied claims that he is sponsoring the opposition, saying that Kenyans need no one to dictate their political choices. His remarks came amid rising attacks and disruptions at opposition meetings as leaders rally around plans to field a single candidate against President William Ruto. And finally, what we have on the Star. The Star says that goonism, violence, worry private sector as campaigns pick up. All right. I think this is worth reporting. Goonism and violence is a big problem, and now the private sector is getting a little bit anxious about it as we head to the general election. And of course, still on the front page, Uhuru at Wamalwa Memorial as Ruto tours Taveta. The two gentlemen making it to the front page of the three local dailies that I have here. But gentlemen, there's a story here that has now been revealed by investigations, revealed how Kenyans are sold to Russia war front. Let me give you some figure here. That is a little bit. And of course, there is also a report from the NIS, which I'll give you. The NIS report puts, according to the Star, the NIS report puts 89 Kenyans still on the front line right now, 39 hospitalized and 28 missing in action. So the Star says that there are Kenyans who are sold to Russia war front. This is what happens. The recruitment pipeline looks like this. 1,000 Kenyans are still are dispatched to fight in Russia, according to NIS report, which was tabled in Parliament. And as of February this year alone, 19 were reported dead, 32 still missing, confirmed Kenyans in casualty, according to Prime Cabinet Secretary, that is Musalia Mudavadi. And on May this year, 26, 89 of them remained in the front line so far. 39 were hospitalized and 28 were missing in action. So what are the figures? There's a joining fee of around 2 million shillings. Joining fee promised to recruits, most of it consumed by travel, kit and agents cuts, according to the Star and the NIS report. And there is 140,000 shillings monthly salary which is promised. And finally, the recruiters pocket 100,000 per recruit after every successful delivery. So let me start with you, Wakili. This is an NIS report. Just 1 minute if you can. It is not something that is not new to us before you get to the real discussion. What do you make of this?
Well, Victor, I am privy to a lot of information.
Yeah.
Information, of course, telling why these recruitments actually go on. Remember, we have a very huge depository of military veterans.
Yeah.
You know, we have soldiers that were serving in the army, and for some reason, for one reason or another, either medical or because of their age, they retired from the service. Now, with retirement, you know, you also have some very huge responsibilities to deal with.
Yeah.
So a majority of our military veterans are not well, they're not well directed towards having a fruitful or an enjoyable retirement age. So that once they are done with their service, then they're just left to wonder.
What next for them?
So what is next for them? And yet everybody else, you and me and even them who are not here, they wish well for their families. What they have ended up doing is falling into prey deliberately. They know the danger that they will be facing, but they will rather die in Russia than die out of starvation in their country. So they choose to surrender themselves to the risks that comes with fighting at the forefront for Russia. So, and that is what has been happening. Remember, at some point I was involved in a matter that was in Kahawa. I know a number of things. I have been in a discussion. There is a lady coming from where I come from.
Yeah.
She is actually a secretary of an association of military veterans. She began this association essentially to reach out to war veterans, or military veterans, so that she can help them in coming to terms with their current realities, help them in accepting that taking certain risks might not be beneficial to themselves and to their families. So the report as offered by the NIS is quite factual. There are a lot of incentives that come with joining Russia at the forefront. So it is not for nothing that you find that these military veterans will submit themselves to the danger.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you look at the country, where this country is coming from. You have pensioners who believe that their pension should help them. But this pension does not come timelessly. So it ends up being delayed. So you have an individual who had worked very hard in his youth for the period probably of recruitment, that is from the age of about 23, 22, or 25 years old, up until when they are 60 years. So when they have retired, they expect they will be getting something meaningful.
Because you've been involved in one or two cases, how bad is it?
It's very bad. Outside there we will say it's bad manze.
It's bad manze.
It's bad manze.
Gilbert, when you look at this, again, one of the reports by NIS says that the recruits fit a type. According to investigators and recruiters alike, look for men with a police or military background, physically built, often recently discharged on questionable terms, and financially stretched enough that a stranger's promise starts to sound like an opportunity rather than a warning.
Yeah, thank you, Victor. For me, it takes me back to the question. We have been giving statistics of Kenyans who have been given jobs abroad from UAE, particularly on UAE countries, and the other Orientals, maybe Saudi Arabia, as well as maybe Iran, Syria, and countries such as Russia. And my brother here, I wonder why they are not using that as statistics of jobs that have been given to Kenyans, courtesy of the government's perhaps intervention, because they are also Kenyans and the government is aware that they have gone there. For me, the fact is that report, in addition to the fact that it just centers on military veterans or people who have left the police or the military on questionable or otherwise terms, there are also Kenyans who have found themselves in the front line having no military background because their recruiters just want to get money. Once you're physically built, you are sent to the front line and you deal with the drones there. And it takes us back to essentially the tenets of good governance. Like as a country, are we really happy that Kenyans are willing to die abroad for a promise that never comes than dying in your own country, as Wakili says, for a promise, for nothing in that particular, in that regard? For me, I think it is just a time for us to reflect whether really the people we put in power are for the interest of the general populace or narrow interest to a few individuals. Everyone, interestingly, who speaks the loudest for this government has personally benefited from the goodies that come with the government. If they haven't, then they will be seeing this thing from this point of view.
Look at it, Umwami. It's out of desperation, but the truth of the matter is that when you land there, you are on your own. Because according to the report, some of them end up going there in a well-structured style. You get a tourist visa, you land from one country to the next, you tour the country, visa fully paid, accommodation, and when you land there, everything changes. So basically, you go there as an individual and you're left on your own.
My brother, when Peter talked of Kazi Maju, I think this is part of the audit that the government needs to have, to seriously have, and have a conversation with families that have lost people or members as a result of this Kazi Maju they are talking of. However, I think there's a statement I can give to this. There is no dignity in exporting labor where you can accommodate that labor in your own country. There is no dignity in that. So whatever we are doing in exporting this labor out there speaks to our own failures as a country, that we are not manufacturing enough labor to accommodate the youth dividend that we have. I mean, it speaks to serious issues in our country, that we have people who have served in the military and they are not even willing to join part of the security that serves in the country to keep our country safer. If we are struggling with goonism, like what we've heard in the press today, and we have people who have served in the security apparatus who are not accommodated into helping the country get more secure, then that means we are not doing enough to secure our own country, but we are willing to export this labor and experts that would have otherwise helped our country to other countries out there. Then that also speaks to something else. We need to invest in manufacturing, we need to invest in activities that would create employment within, to have these experts serve our own economies rather than go out there to risk their lives. Now look at that sad situation, that somebody has gone out on a tourism visa, then they get out there working in a military base on the front line, dying in somebody else's country, probably will not even retrieve their remains, because we didn't manufacture enough labor for our own country in our own state. So to speak to this government, and Peter, now that you are privileged to be getting closer, please advise the government that what we need to do is to strengthen our own systems in the country to provide labor within, rather than think of exporting this labor and risking our people out there. It's not that we are not willing to export part of labor and the expertise we have, but if we can use them, if we can make good use of them within, in securing our own country, in establishing manufacturing that would create more labor, than exporting it would help our country more than what we are doing today.
Okay. Peter, let me ask you, Kenya has been listed as one of the top list for the recruitment of its nationals. Top list. Meaning when you look at it universally, it's a sad state of affairs. It means that we are strengthening our diplomatic image publicly, but in private, we are bleeding.
No, one thing I'll say is that first and foremost, you have to differentiate between the legal kazi maju and the illegal kazi maju. the military here, the Russian, the other day you saw the cabinet prime minister, Wycliffe Musalia Mudavadi, saying that those people who are going to Russia, they are not going legally. It's in black and white. It's something which is up there. We have our own systems, how we are taking our people out there for jobs which has been investigated and consulted, and everything has been arrived at. And that's what we are saying. The 600,000 Kenyans who have gone out there, they are Kenyans who have felt that I need to go out of this country and offer my services there. And we have assisted them. Concerning Russia, I will not say that there is an issue with, because now, as far as the pension is concerned for military officers, officers after 10 years, servicemen after 12 years, they are entitled for a monthly payment up to the day they are going to die. And these ones come around. We don't have an issue with the pension in this country. Now, if somebody feels that want to go and venture there, you cannot stop that man or a woman. It's illegal. They know when they are doing it to Russia, it's illegal. If you want to do it legally, they know the systems and the way. Because, for example, like me, I have been assisting a lot of people, not only young, but even the other people who feel that they want to go out there and offer their services through the right channel. So we have to differentiate here. And also know another thing. A developing country like our country, Kenya, we have different minds, different people who, because here in Kenya we have something called liberalization, that you are free to do what you want. Now you find some of people feel that I cannot be comfortable when I work in this country. Just remember just the other day, I think 1 week ago, His Excellency the President went to Eldoret for a very big pass out. That was one of the biggest pass out I have seen in this country. In the next few days, he'll be going to Kiganjo here for a pass out of the police. We are talking about affordable housing, which has already absorbed $1 million plus. That's the direct employment. What about the indirect employment? We are talking about the other teachers. Since we took power, we have been able to employ 120,000 teachers in this country, among others. Now, There are other people who feels that they can't fit, they can't feel okay when they are working in this country. What do? They go out. As the government told you, there is liberalization. Everybody must given his or her own freedom to do what he or she wants.
All right. Wakili, allow me to ask you this last question. And maybe one of you, all of you, maybe you can get into this. This is a report which was tabled before Parliament, so which means it's out there publicly. Yes. And let me quote what the Speaker said. The National Assembly Speaker, Moses Wetangula, told Parliament on February 12th that Lavrov, that is in Moscow, had personally insisted to him that the Russian government was not involved and that Kenyans killed at the front were being, quote unquote, buried in mass graves.
Of course. I mean, it's, you know, we've had a problem with the families who've lost their loved ones from that Russian war, because there has been difficulties in, you know, expatriating or bringing back the body for the purpose of having a decent send-off.
Reason? Is it because of the channel, how they move?
Yes, it's because of their channel. You know, at the first instance, they get to travel to Russia as tourists. Then, of course, while in Russia, their travel documents are changed and certain documents are actually withheld. So they are withheld for the purpose of now denying you an opportunity of rethinking twice, of rethinking your decision of you know, staying in Russia. So when now death knocks at the door, you are dead, your family cannot really even trace you. So you end up now being one of these unclaimed bodies, so to speak, when it comes to the Kenyan jurisdiction. Yeah. So if you're an unclaimed body, and the best way of dealing with a corpse is either you cremate it, you bury it, or you take it to a laboratory for medical you know, studies, so that doctors will learn from your body how to operate a cadaver. Otherwise, if we can't take your body to some certain medical school and we can't bury you, we can't cremate your body, then the easiest thing will be to bury you in a mass grave. So once we have our people who have been buried in these mass graves, their families continue grieving. Certain families do not even know where their loved ones are. Okay. So it is incumbent, let me just finish by saying, it is incumbent it's incumbent on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to help us in dealing with this menace. You know, the government cannot just wring their hands and say that they have no role in whatever is happening with the migration of Kenyans from Kenya to Russia. You just cannot say that. I mean, you are a government. You have intelligence. This intelligence should be helping you so that when someone applies to get a visa to go to Russia, you should flag out that person, get to dig deeper into establishing why is this individual traveling to Russia? Yeah. What business do they have going to Russia? Are they a professional? Are they leaving something behind? Or do they have nothing behind so that if they go, they just go one way? So it's important for the government. We cannot have a government that you know, has surrendered its responsibility of guarding Kenyans to the angels. Okay. Yes.
Just out of curiosity.
Yes.
Amongst the cases you've handled, have you had a reprieve where a person has come back home?
Of course not. Of course not. It's not very easy. Eh? You know, I've said, number one, the choice usually is deliberate, because of the harsh economic times that we find ourselves in. There are certain situations where you have a military veteran. You have a military veteran who has not been receiving their pension, or the cost of living has gone so high that the little that they are getting is not sufficient to cater for their families and their loved ones. So they choose, I would rather die fighting outside there with a huge package. I have 2 million shillings, I have about 500,000 shillings that I have been given, I have left it behind for my family. As opposed to dying in Kenya, you know, and the obituary is written that he died out of starvation and hunger. I mean, so many of us do not want certain things to be written in the obituaries.
All right. But I think Victor,
you'd rather die fighting for your own life.
Maybe we take a break.
Matters.
Omwami wants tea. You know.
But I think that is a reality.
Let me serve you tea. Okay. Let me serve you tea.
Asante sana.
Okay.
And chicken.
Right back. Stay with us.
And chicken.
Chicken, no.
Bring chicken.
Chicken. Your chicken.
Our chicken cannot go to the 12th floor. No, can't. Yeah, for the housing.
debate. Actually, some of the readers, they are funny. Who told them that Gen Z from your place want chickens?
But you're not, your people are not serious.
Lakini honestly,
How can you say
Even-
that chicken
even-
cannot go to 12 from? What is kind of
All right,
discussion?
we take a break. All right. Welcome back. Omwami, are you happy now?
Fair enough.
Very good.
Good.
Okay. Omwami, thank you so much. Now, I took a break specifically for him, but everybody has benefited. Everybody has benefited. Thank you so much. Gilbert Awino, who is a lawyer and Secretary Supracomp, is also with us. Henry Ndindi, lecturer and communication strategies governance expert, as well as Shadrack Wamboi, who is an advocate of the High Court. And finally, Peter Ndumu is a political analyst. Gentlemen, allow me to take a break on that discussion. We'll circle back with it later on. But then now, come back to what is happening in the country. The two big gentlemen spoke, and Gilbert, this is not something new, as I said.
Yeah.
I'm asking this because, as we speak, Kenya is now less than 1 year to the general election,
Yeah,
August
true.
10th.
Yeah.
And we are seeing a situation where the president is also consolidating his bloc.
Yeah.
The opposition are also trying to make sure that they have got a strong base.
Yeah.
A quick question is that could it be an early stage of President William Ruto getting an early lead and an early win, or another position where the political realignment with the opposition will surprise the country altogether?
Where it is, the question is who began the fight. The president, former president, has been resting easy at home. Then on Saturday, and I think on Sunday, even today, the president had a meeting with a journalist of the Daily Nation, and said as much about his displeasure with his former colleague, the president. So when the former president was speaking at Wamalo's memorial, it was against the backdrop of a provocation of the current head of state, what could be seen as the provocation by the current head of state. Where the president is finding himself is a situation where he needs friends, but he cannot find them. He reaches out to these friends and saying, no, we would not want to be your friends at this particular time.
Yes.
So I saw a president who is actually frustrated because the people who would solidify his message have refused to join the bandwagon. And that's why Raila remains the hero, because he's the only person who was convinced but left the scene before he could spread the message. On the opposition front, certainly what the president fears the most is a coalition of all the opposition candidates coming and giving him one or two people who he is very afraid of. The candidate he's afraid of the most is the candidacy of Sifuna being the president and Kalonzo Musyoka being the vice president. If you reverse it, you have Kalonzo as the president and Sifuna as the deputy. He's fairly comfortable with that because every regime usually steals elections. The stealing is easier when the margin is kidogo. When the margin is wide, what you steal is what is yours. You'll not steal to defeat your opponent. And therefore, Kalonzo has been with Raila Odinga, and you know all the claims. The only time he wasn't with Raila was in 2008, 2007, 2008 general elections. All through since that time, he has been with Raila, and there are allegations that those elections have been won. And even the nullification of 2017 elections confirms this. However, after the loss, or after the stealing, what next? People go to the streets, we cry, and then a few people are called here and there, the story ends. He can do that with Kalonzo Musyoka. He cannot do that with Sifuna candidacy because the trauma he experienced during the Gen Z revolt makes it so uncomfortable that a repeat of that, courtesy of a stolen election, would make this country go to the dogs. And here is the reason why the president now is just looking for anyone who he hopes at least would help solidify his message so that he can get a few numbers from this gentleman's area, because that area is gone. Central is gone.
To who?
Central is gone. Out of, not to Sifuna. He
Oh
doesn't
my
have
God.
it in the voting basket. If you look at the political basket from 2013, let's just use 2013. No presidency has been won without the Kikuyu candidates, without the Kikuyu votes. In 2013, it was Kikuyu. In 2017, 2022. And now it is only in 2027 that we are not going to have Kikuyus in his basket. It means he's entering the race as a very disadvantaged candidate. And therefore, those are the factors that when, consolidated.
Do you believe in political miracle?
There is no political miracle. The facts, facts speaks for themselves. The president sees that the entire republic, he has a few people in his basket.
Omwami, what will be the main selling point come 2027? I like how Gilbert is putting, but I've asked if he believes in political miracle, because we're still talking about the handshake that happened at the footstep of Harambee House today. All right? What will be the main selling point?
Unfortunately, President has very little to sell. He has been scapegoating in the former President Uhuru Kenyatta. And I like what President Uhuru Kenyatta did yesterday, because in political communication, that was a strategy. Seeking a public opinion on who is the most popular candidate. And as Gilbert has observed, actually he had a mention of Kalonzo Musyoka, had a mention of Ruto, had a mention of Matiang'i. Then he got a proper public opinion when he mentioned Sifuna. And that in itself is accreditation, because it's a strategic political communication. But what does he have to sell, the president? Unfortunately, we have talked of SHA. It might be working.
That was Sifuna's home ground?
Yes. And it was not really there. It was not there. There was nothing. In fact, Ruto got more than that young man.
That is neither here or there.
Yeah.
No.
The fact of the matter is that Sifuna was not present, but in his absentia, his name was mentioned.
What did you expect?
Even
his name was mentioned, and a cheering crowd communicated a message. That is important. And as you say, we might want to observe the same thing when he goes to Ukambani and when President Uhuru Kenyatta goes to Meru. We want to observe that. Definitely there has to be a starting point to anything. So if he had an opportunity to do that in Kitale and it plays host to Sifuna, well and good. That is also a confirmation that Sifuna has a constituency in Western.
Okay.
Then let me get to the second point. What will the president sell? I mean, we had hope that when you talk of SHA and that it's going to eliminate the harambees that we do, it will actually eliminate. It has not eliminated. My brother, I'm from Budalangi and I'm eyeing a political seat there. I'm eyeing the seat of parliament for Budalangi.
Oh, okay.
That is official.
Hold. Gilbert did not hear that. He was sipping his coffee.
Yeah, Gilbert, I'm eyeing the seat of parliament for Budalangi. We want to Linda Mwananchi.
I wish you a political miracle, he was asking. That you defeat the bigwigs there.
Yeah, because Sifuna's candidature is changing the political landscape in the country. I mean, we have been served that political plate of fear, and we've been served a number of things that we don't have money, so we don't have. Somebody else says we don't have a plan. But when they come in with a plan telling you that we have a university funding model and you won't be fundraising for university students, indeed it ends up with 30 harambees. So if things are not working, they're just not working. You fix them or get a leadership that will fix them. So if President Ruto wanted to sell something, and I was a proponent of a number of things he did. For instance, when he introduced cheaper fertilizer, I thought this was going to work well for Mkulima to have enough food in our basket, and that was going to help. Even this affordable housing, if it was strategically implemented, for instance, most of the houses we are struggling with the students here, if you started with hostels in schools, in colleges, for instance, to address that problem there, you will free houses out here for our people who want to get residence in or accommodation in some of these houses. If you lowered the cost of construction, you lower the cost of cement, you lower the cost of metal. I will build my own house. I won't depend on your house, on the house that you are building. So if some of these things were strategically implemented, they were going to work well. Something else, even on the component of education, there is a serious reform that we need to have in the country today. We are teaching students who are coming out, we are churning out graduates who come out to look for jobs. But we are not churning out students who come out to create jobs. So the component of entrepreneurship in every course that people undertake in universities. I mean, when you went to the School of Journalism, probably what existed was the mainstream media. But now we have podcasts and the new media. So somebody needs to educate the current journalists with the new media, knowing that they can create these job opportunities for themselves, rather than having us graduate people who come out of the universities looking for jobs instead of creating these jobs. So in what the president would sell, probably selling hope has gone. He can't sell hope anymore. He wanted to take us to Singapore. He diverted to Vietnam and somewhere else. It was not working. So we just hope that the next thing he can sell is that he is going to sell a message of optimism for the country.
Which is, of course, even in the Bible, there is that aspect of hope. Peter.
Yes.
This is a market, politically speaking, right now, and it's going to get to the highest bidder.
Let me tell you, the truth of the matter is, these guys, Bana, I have told you many times, including my fellow Mheshimiwa here, he is just very selfish because he is just looking the bad picture, not the good picture. Because this country, we have so much to sell that even if you give me 2 hours here, and remember that I'm just an aspirant and member of UD, I'm not in the government. I don't work for the government. I'm just an aspirant and a member and a directed member in my polling station, that I cannot exhaust what President William Ruto has done. When he came, he removed 7 million Kenyans from CLB. These guys can't understand because they are living comfortably. Secondly, he reduced the price of fertilizer from 7,500 to 2,500. These people who are retail in Nairobi cannot understand that. The third thing is that he came and he started this thing of employing teachers. People have been suffering out there. To date, I'm saying, and I'm proudly saying here today, that we have employed over 120,000 teachers directly. Third thing, and the most important, we found this country in dogs. That president you're talking about, the former president, left this country with negative $2 million US debt. He left this, we were to default these loans, and you can't look at that, and you're saying that you're educated. Where and why?
My brother.
Tell Kenyans the truth, that we found this country in dogs. Today, in our infrastructure fund, we have $2.75 billion. That is plus. The other very important thing I would like to tell Kenyans, that I would like to give them a small story of that. When Kibaki came into power, found that Moi has already taken a debt of 600 billion. Then when he left with 1.8 trillion debt. Then when Uhuru came, the guy you see as if he's an angel, he left to 10.3 trillion debt. And then as to date, we have only taken 2.7 trillion. So 30% of what has been taken by the former regime. And these Kenyans want to advise Kenya that that was the best regime. What do you mean? Let me just finish. Will
the cost of living be a very...
This is created because...
This needs
will the cost of living be a major factor in 2027, or the ethnic blocking that we talk about, or political loyalty?
Yes. Now, let me tell you one thing. Us, as UDA, we are talking direct to Kenyans.
No. Yes, answer my question directly.
Yes,
will the cost of living be a matter of importance in 2027?
Yes.
Or the ethnic blocking that we are seeing in the country?
Yes.
Or the political loyalty?
Yes. Now,
what will be more important?
The most important thing is transforming Kenyans' lives. Dealing with Mwananchi himself, not the people who presume or preserve that we are the tribe leaders.
Yes.
The other day I came here, I said that one of the things which are making President William Ruto to be unpopular is because he has already destabilized the political kingpins.
Yeah.
The people who presume that for you to come to this tribe of Bagusi or the other tribe of Wakikuyu or the other one, you have to pass through me. Now, President William Ruto has already dismantled that. And those are the cartels which are fighting him. To be very honest, the last one. This country, during the last, before 4 years, before we took power, there was a lot of loopholes. Fake CG insurance, CG fake what, all those loopholes have been sealed. And the cartels you are seeing today fighting His Excellency William Ruto are those cartels which want to return us where we were because they are benefiting.
I asked a question. I don't know whether you answered me or not. But Wakili, 2 questions, and this will all go to all of you. Peter Ndungu, you're very cunning. The thing is, look at it this way. What do you think Kenya should be looking for before picking any political leader in the next election? This also goes to what I asked. We are in a marketplace right now.
Yes.
We have got, you know, the ethnicity we've been talking about, we have the economy, and now we are talking about agenda. What should Wanjiku look for in 2027?
Well, thank you, Peter. Thank you.
I know this
Victor.
must be an exam to you.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Victor. You know, sometimes when I hear Peter raise his voice, I have been under the temptation of telling him not to raise his voice, but to just raise the quality of his argument. Largely because, you know, sometimes it's difficult to sell a pork in some mosques.
Numbers never rise.
Yes, but anyway, let me just respond directly to your question.
Yes.
Respond.
Well, I think Wanjiku also has an exam come the year 2027. Wanjiku is a person that is coming up from a past that is disturbed. You know, we've had a lot of ups and downs through the period between the year 2022 and now the year 2027. We've had instances where the government has introduced taxes. Of course, through the acts of our members of parliament, we have had the introduction of the housing levy. Of course, its first introduction was through the Finance Act of the year 2023. And then thereafter, we've had the Finance Act of the year 2024. Now, of course, we are well aware of what became of Kenya following the passing of the finance bill, at least by the members of parliament. So the altercation, the loss of lives, the forced disappearances, the abductions that happened thereafter, and of course the maiming of individuals. This is something that continues to depress a majority of Kenyans. Kenyans have not really come to terms with what really happened in the year 2024. Kenyans are still angry about those deaths and forced disappearances. So we expect that a Kenyan voter, the Wanjiku, the Atieno, the Mora of this country, when given a chance come next year, what they will be thinking about is they will want a leader that is sensitive to their plight, a leader that listens to their voice. Because we've been having leaders that want to talk down at us. They don't want to talk to us. You know, they want to push things down our throat. And over and above that, we've been having very selfish leaders. I am coming from a constituency where our member of parliament decided that everything else that we told him not to do, he actually ended up doing. When it comes to, you know, we are speaking about the retired president, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. And this is important because a majority of our viewers don't understand how the law works. In the year 2004, this country, of course, trying to give a soft landing to the former president. This is Daniel Toroitich arap Moi. We decided to pass a legislation, a piece of law called the Presidential Retirement and Benefits Act. That is in the year 2004.
Yeah.
So this law was supposed to help all retired presidents. Now, there were certain things that it told us to do when it comes to benefits that a retired president was entitled to. So the law told us that you are not supposed to disturb the retirement benefits that are entitled to a retired president. Now, come the year 2022, December. This is important.
Yes.
Because you need to understand fights between Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto. The year 2022, shortly after the Kenya Kwanza assuming these instruments of power, what they decided to do, they decided to come up with certain amendments. You remember, there was a discomfort. Of course, with Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, even just shortly after the elections, going to some, I think it's Luanda. He went to Luanda, and he had a rally, some sort of a small rally. He addressed the members of the public, and he told them that regardless of the presidential results, his president was still Raila Amolo Odinga. So what the government, Kenya Kwanza, and a majority of the MPs that are now singing the one-term choir, what they decided to do during that period of time was to cause certain amendments to the Presidential Retirement and Benefits Act to say that now, if you are a retired president, number one, you are prohibited from participating in the politics of the day.
Yeah.
Number two, if you participate in the politics of the day, what Parliament can do by a majority of about 2/3 what they can do, they can decide to slash down, to interfere with your salaries and retirements as a former head of state. That was an act of parliament. This was an amendment to the Retirement and Benefits Presidents Act that was meant to, of course, tame Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. So many of these things that happened during that period of time, and of course, you're looking at 2022 to the current situation now, it has left so many Kenyans thinking. Now, we have had a parliament that has been at the beck and call of the executive. The parliament that was supposed to check the excesses of the executive has not lived true.
Okay, based on what you've said.
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yeah.
does this leave the opposition vulnerable? Just by President Uhuru Kenyatta's voice yesterday, and based on, again, what you're saying, the former president having some quote-unquote, some soft landing, does that leave opposition vulnerable?
I don't know where that presumption is coming from, but I'll get back to it. First, what I would like to say is that on the backdrop of acclamation that Sifuna got in Trans Nzoia, Sifuna comes from Bungoma and the mother comes from Kakamega. The function was held in Trans Nzoia, which is a cosmopolitan county having about 40% of other tribes. There is something that has been said, especially we who come from the Western, that if a Kikuyu girl marries you, either you're very rich or you are going to have money. And the same can be said of people who are singing loudest in praise of this current government. Either they are benefiting or they have seen some personal benefit
That is
coming. But now on the question of whether Uhuru's voice coming late in the day but early in the political duel is Achilles' heel to the opposition, I think it adds onto the voice of dissenting majority who are saying that you're doing everything we have told you not to do in the guise of, I am your person, you chose me, and trust me, I'm going to give you what you need. If you remember, those stories we used to study, we used to be told when we were young in primary. There's this small animal called the hare. And one day, the hippo saw him with very nice shoes. And he asked the hippo, where did you, the hippo asked the hare, ulipata wapi viatu vizuri kama hivi? Akamwambia, if you want, I'll show you. Then he ended up burning the feet of the hippo. We Kenyans have told the president that the funding model of higher education or of any other tertiary learning institution is not working because it pains us. Whatever explanation you give makes us uncomfortable. He tells you you are not understanding and therefore implement. It collapsed the other day and now something else is coming. Kenyans are saying we don't need houses. What we need is an income for me to choose whether I want to live in Lake Victoria or I want to live in town, or as Mhesh here is saying, build those houses where they are needed. There is accommodation trouble in all the public and private universities. But you're busy building them in Mukuru and even on pieces of land that are basically under contention. So you wonder whether really the interest is to provide housing or the interest is to meet a particular interest. So I basically would like to submit that indeed the voice of the president adds onto the voice of the many. That indeed if you do not act by getting the presidential candidate we need. And he basically just did the sound check by mentioning a few names. Those names were very deliberate. He thought about that speech and the order. He said Ruto, he said Kalonzo, he said Matiang'i, and then he said Sifuna. He wasn't talking because those names just came up. He went there particularly to do the sound check. Because if you're a political candidate, you must first be accepted at home before people accept you out there. That is what I would like to say.
Peter,
I don't know why.
I want to take a break, but there's a message for you here.
Yes.
There's a gentleman called Honorable Chanje. Honorable Chanje says that SHA is working.
Yes.
I took my son to hospital, used SHA,
Yes.
and was told that I need to buy drugs. Indeed, SHA is working 100%.
Yes, I'm telling you.
Listen to that message.
No.
Listen to that message.
Just wait. You know, we have established that your work is to look at the bad picture, not the good picture. That's a Kenyan. Excuse me.
Message.
We gave you time. We gave you time to talk, and your time is over. Allow me now to talk.
Okay.
What we are saying is that majority of Kenyans, majority of Kenyan, Victor, are witness, and they have confirmed to the whole world that SHA is not only working, but the best medical scheme Kenya has ever had.
Thank you. But let's take a break. Just a quick one. I'm coming to give you 1 minute each.
Okay.
Okay, we'll break back. Stay with us.
The message is saying
The IC actually.
Have you done always sit with them always?
Okay. All right. Welcome back. I wish you could just hear what's happening behind the scenes. Okay, gentlemen, let's come back and just finalize this conversation very quickly. So, Peter, there's a question which I asked before you took a break. That is from Chanje. And Chanje, let me just repeat for the sake of our viewers. SHA is working. I took my son to hospital, used SHA, and was told to buy him drugs. Indeed, SHA is working 100%. You will answer that question at the tail end. But then now, coming back to the discussion, as we also finalize. Now, how constructive or disruptive would the voice of Uhuru Kenyatta be moving forward? One.
Allow me to just use 30 seconds and respond to something you had raised earlier. What would inform our decisions in 2027?
Okay, all right.
One is the cost of living. Then two is commitment to fight corruption.
Mm-hmm.
Three, commitment to fight wastage in government or to reduce wastage in government. I mean, we don't want to have a government that invites people to State House every weekend to take sodas. Then we come and report to the public that the economy has grown because people are taking sodas, when it's actually State House that is sponsoring those sodas and the uptake of sodas. So that is important for us going forward. Then it will be important in 2027 to have promises delivered. So even those of us who are eyeing political seats, there is a serious test to us. Are we going to make promises that are deliverable, or we are going to sound promises that are out of the moon for the public? So those are very important things going forward. And lastly, on what will inform our decisions is that respect for the rule of law.
Yeah.
And the respect for the rule of law will come out of consistency that the leadership has displayed. If you've had an opportunity to serve people, how much consistent have you been in respect for the rule of law? And that will speak to what you're likely to do next. So what does the position of President Uhuru Kenyatta do in this? One, he's a voter. He's a voter in the Republic of Kenya, and like every other voter, he's entitled to his opinion, and democratically so. And for that matter, he has a positive influence to a number of people who listen to him.
Yeah.
Then, having served this country, he also left a mark. And if that mark can persuade people that he means well for the Republic, remember he sounded something sometimes back, that youth of this country need to come up and take up positions of this country, because the future belongs to them and their generations, the generations they are manufacturing or giving birth to. So if he stands with that, and he influences youth to come out and consider themselves as leaders and influencers to the leadership that is coming, then that is the kind of influence the president will have on the Republic.
Okay.
And we wish him well.
Okay. Peter,
Yes.
the same question to you. How disruptive or constructive would that voice be? Because he also said that he should not be called a sponsor.
A sponsor.
Yeah.
Yeah, he should not be called the sponsor, but you can see his very private secretary working with the Sifuna they are talking about today. Everywhere, even inside his own car, that Pauline is there studying. What is she doing there? She is not up. Who is she? Now, that's why we are saying that very clearly that there is somebody called Pauline who is a very close private secretary to Uhuru Kenyatta. We know it. We have been there for many years. Remember, I was a councillor in this country. I know these people.
We personally can't.
I am But now the thing which we still stand is that
are you sure about
Uhuru
that?
Kenyatta is the sponsor.
Are you sure about that?
I know that is out there, outside there. When there's those people, when you see them, you see Peter.
All right.
Now, it's so clear that Uhuru has been sponsoring, especially Sifuna, Akina Kalonzo, and the others of this world. And we are telling him, allow people to have a level playing ground. We have been complaining that when he took power, he found 1.8 trillion debt. He left 10.3 trillion debt. So we are saying that this guy is so loaded and he has money to sponsor these people. So we are telling him, Kakando, let us sell our agenda. And now another thing which is very important.
So just a direct one. How disruptive or constructive would his voice be?
From where I am, from where I come from, we no longer recognize his voice. Mount Kenya region, no, not again. He brought his candidate, we say no. So for me, where I am today, because I'm representing a region where I come from a certain particular area, his voice is okay. And you saw there's the other day in Olkarau. As much as UDA, we were beaten, but his candidate just got 100 votes. So that's tell you very well. In Mount Kenya region, his deal was done and sealed and completed. And now another very important thing. I would like to say before just one thing, that there is something we should realize in this country. As much as these guys here are saying that the government has not delivered, remember we found government by 2022 has already put 320 services in government portal. Today we are talking about 26,000 services. And we jump from 20 billion to over 600 billion correction to revenue today, which is going to the government. So everybody from where he is, including my fellow fella here, he just sit either at home or at office. He's able to transact all the services he wants. He wants a driving license, he wants whatever. He can be able to sit as his comfort where he is, and he can be able to get all those services. And still he is insisting that the government is not working. So what I'm telling you is that our biggest problem as UDA administration, as Kenya Kwanza, the leadership of President William Ruto is that one, we have fought cartels and cartels are fighting back. Two, we have transformed life of Kenyans directly and we have delivered our manifesto to the letter, which is a big embarrassment and disappointment down to the opposition.
Okay. All right. The same question to you, Shadrach. Yes. How disruptive, constructive?
Oh, of course, the former president, His Excellency Uhuru Muigai wa Kenyatta is going to be very consequential come the election of the year 2027. I mean, we should not just hide our head in the sand or under the assumption that what transpired in the year 2022 is what is going to have, to be a repeat come the election of the year 2027. Yeah. The truth of the matter is, I come from the region where Mr. Peter Ndongo comes from. And so we should not take his word to be the gospel truth. Or at the very least, his views should be disturbed by mine, because I come from the same region as his and I don't think as much as he does. The truth of the matter is, what transpired in the year 2027 with Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta fronting His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga, and may God rest his soul in peace. Of course, there was an apathy. People decided that they were not going to heed to his call, largely because of a promise that he had made years before, that he's going to have his 10 years in office and then they are going to support His Excellency William Ruto's election as a president for the next 10 years. What has transpired from the year 2022 to this time around confirms what he has been telling the people of the Mount Kenya region about his former deputy president. He was telling them that this person is a sweet talker. He cannot be trusted.
What is that influence?
That is what he told them then, but they refused to believe in him. So they have witnessed firsthand what the president is capable of doing. And for that reason, a majority of the people coming from the Mount Kenya region feel that they are fundamentally in declining the invitation by the former president Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta to elect Raila Amolo Odinga. They feel that they are suffering because they refuse to heed to the advice that was given by the former president, who was the president and was being deputized by the current president. So that in itself has put the Mount Kenya region at a corner where they are only but waiting to get a word from the retired president, and they are going to heed to that word.
Okay.
In regret, knowing that with the benefit of hindsight, they failed him. Now they owe him a favor, or they owe him a duty to do that which is good and right by voting towards the direction that they will be directed by the former president.
Gilbert, how important is his voice on stage? His name, not voice. How important is his name on stage as we head to the election?
Back to the question of whether his voice is constructive or disruptive.
Yes.
And I submit that it is both. In this sense, it is constructive in the sense that the president was expected to sit home and watch as things, just unfold in much the same way the former president. Daniel Moi would never come out in public and speak, but we knew he supported Uhuru. Kibaki never spoke, but we knew he supported Uhuru. This one has come out just before election and is speaking against a candidate who thinks that this guy has refused to see how important I am. At least he should support me. I told you that this gentleman has these particular weaknesses and he should not be the president. And the president is wondering, can't he change his mind for once and see what I have done? The statistics are not making sense to him. So in that sense, it is constructive. In as far as disruption is concerned, it is for a fact that the president is behaving in a manner that the former presidents have never done. The former presidents have always never shown their political alliance. This one is even a chair, quote unquote, of an opposition party or a coalition of opposition candidates who are not supporting the president. In that regard, therefore, basically your opposition, someone who opposes you is basically picking from your bread basket, and therefore you feel that you're not in a good space. But I would also further like to state that the facts that we throw around, the statistic of trillion, the debts, who are we picking those figures from? Mheshimiwa here is picking those figures from a Daily Nation interview that basically was President Ruto's voice. Those figures have not been challenged by alternative voices. I would wish to state that in 2027, as we go to the general election, we look for a president who listens to us. When I say my back is paining, you don't insist that it is my brain that is not functioning. Therefore, you keep sticking to the brain. If you go to Kiambu, for instance, I've never seen a county in this country that has roads and bypasses than any other country. That was done courtesy.
I want to do something.
Thank you.
In just one word.
Yeah.
If elections were to be held tomorrow, whichever leader you would choose, which leader would you choose with what quality?
I would choose a leader who listens to the Kenyans. The simpler the message, the better the message, the candidate for me.
Wakili?
Yes, of course, I'll choose a leader that listens to the ground.
Okay.
Yes.
Peter?
I choose the leader who has shown his, the way he is working, the person who has implemented the manifesto. That is WSR.
Okay.
One who is focused on the software of this country that will create the hardware.
All right. I think that's a better way to stop that conversation. And whatever you do, please, let's just be conscious and be mindful that politicians will always ride in their big 4x4s, and you'll not be spared when there is chaos in this country. So let's be mindful, let's stop hooliganism. It's better when we vote peacefully and celebrate in peace and just have fun. All right? Mandago once said that
Weka kwa lab.
Of course.
Ikae kwa lab.
Exactly. Usiweke kwa lab, wache pumue. And that's it. So they have been fighting here. After this, they are going to laugh outside. I can tell you. You should do that the same. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being part of this show. Peter Ndungu, political analyst. Of course, I still wish you the best in your quest for the political seat. Shanta Kwambui, asante sana. We also wish you the best in Kajiado North.
In Kajiado North?
Yeah.
Yes, we have taken it already.
He's been out there running around. That's why he's been lost.
It's important that you listen to what the people are saying. Of course, the people are unhappy about people
We need
who
to go to Budalangi. We need to go to Budalangi.
Karibuni sana.
I hope they are no longer, we do not have those flagged.
Actually, part of the software we are discussing is part of it. I mean, we have a country that has an opportunity to buy dredgers and offer solutions. Karibuni sana Budalangi. Karibuni sana.
Gilbert, thank you so much. He's also Secretary and a lawyer, Supracom. Gentlemen, let's take a break.